Meet a woman who volunteers for the same organization she works for. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Montross Conference Room at the Horry-Georgetown Technical College Foundation. We're focused on the 10th annual American Heart Ball to be held March 6th at the Myrtle Beach Marriott Resort Grand Dunes. And we're visiting with the Regional Director of the American Heart Association, Tammy Eaves. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for getting back in.
Thanks for having me.
To think now we're a little less than 5 weeks from the event. This would be not only the biggest but the best gala ever. Of course, last year almost 1,000 folks packed in the Radisson Resort down over there, the Myrtle Beach Convention Center. Oversubscribed crowd, and to think this year again, where we're expecting around 900 folks,
right,
or right at 900 folks, it'll be a sold-out crowd no matter what.
Oh yes, it certainly will.
It's amazing to think year after year. How many years have you been doing this, Tammy?
14.
Oh, come on.
Now, the Heart Ball has been taking place for 10 years, but right, I've been with the American Heart Association for 14 years.
Now, had you done any Heart Balls prior to the Myrtle Beach area Heart Ball?
Yes. In fact, my first Heart Ball was in Marion, small town of Marion, and then I did the one in Florence, also one in Darlington, and by the time I did the one in Myrtle Beach, I was already a veteran at it.
Yeah, you were a pro. Well, that's why these have gone off like gangbusters every year they've been going, I'm sure.
Yes, they have.
So your original territory, Tammy, was the PD as well as the
right,
Strand?
I was the PD regional director when I first started. My office has always been in Myrtle Beach. We did not have an office in Florence or any staff in Florence. And as the Florence market grew, we opened up an office and hired 2 staff people, which now has grown to 4 or 5 staff people in Florence. And they're doing well, and so are we in Myrtle Beach.
Now, do they still have the Marion Gala?
No, they do not. They still have the Florence one and the one in Darlington.
Right, right. And, of course, folks in their communities can contact that PD Area Heart Association office to learn more about their events, which are coming up around the same time of the Waccamaw Division's event on March 6th. You don't know the dates, I'm sure, of the Darlington and Florence area galas, do you?
The Darlington one is February 28th.
Okay.
And the one in Florence is in March, and I'm not real sure what the date is. It's after March 6th.
Yeah, not to put you on the spot, I know so many folks throughout the state. There's so many events. Of course, Tammy, the other incredible thing is you're putting on a Heart Ball the weekend before the Myrtle Beach area Heart Ball. How do you do it all?
In Wilmington, North Carolina. So I'm traveling to Wilmington weekly now and working really hard.
That is incredible. Who else works with you within the South Carolina and North Carolina divisions to help make that Wilmington one a success?
Melinda Hunter, her husband is a cardiovascular surgeon, Charlie Hunter, and Teresa Snyder, and her husband is Dr. James Snyder, and he's also a cardiologist in that area. Up
there in Wilmington.
Mm-hmm.
And you've also got some folks in the PD area who travel over to Wilmington to help out.
Right. Mona Carter and the Florence office, she's the vice president for Heart Walk for South Carolina, and Candy Carter, who's the vice president for Heart Balls in South Carolina.
Golly, it's amazing to think of the commitment of so many folks, particularly within the PD and the Strand, to help make these galas such a success. And, of course, the Florence area walk is a giant one.
Oh, yes.
And their gala's not quite as large as their walk. And, of course, the walk down here this year was a giant one, but the gala is the big kicker for the year.
Right.
Which is so exciting, Tammy.
I think that people along the Grand Strand enjoy a good party, and then the Heart Ball is a great party. And they like to get out and walk, but they like the social setting better. So our events like the Heart Ball and the horse ride tend to do a little better year after year than the Heart Walk.
Now, have you been up to this Myrtle Beach Marriott Resort at Grand Dunes yet, Tammy?
I have. I certainly have. It is a beautiful, beautiful facility. Very Mediterranean, gorgeous yellows and bright blues and bright reds, just decorated magnificently. Right. Very pretty.
Give the viewers a sense, if they were attending a gala for the first time and they decided to make the 10th annual Heart Ball, this year's gala, the first one they've attended, what are they going to experience if they're visiting for the first time? Let's say someone's dropping them off at the front door, or the valet parking's getting their car to take them off. This is 6 o'clock when they're showing up for the gala that night. What's going to happen there?
Well, of course, we'll start off the evening with cocktails and the silent auction. And during the silent auction, we have all types of things from trips to art, all kinds of local things that have been donated, as well as big things like four-wheelers, and hopefully we'll get a jet ski. We're working on a lot of large ticket items like that. We don't have all of them confirmed, but we have a couple nice pieces of diamond jewelry, as well as golf packages, trips, lots of things that they can bid on for the first couple of hours. So that actually from 6 to 9, they can bid on things in the silent auction. Dinner will be at 8 p.m. in the ballroom, and we will have filet mignon and lobster tail. So it's going to be fantastic, and the appetizer is crab cake. So it's a wonderful, wonderful lineup of food, and topped off with white chocolate mousse and Godiva sauce. So it's going to be a fantastic meal. So everybody needs to come hungry and ready to dance, because we'll have great dance music provided by the chairman of the board. And there will not be any breaks, because when the chairman of the board is not performing, another group is coming with them, the executives, to perform. So it will be a wonderful dancing experience as well as a great evening otherwise.
And what time will the band kick off?
They'll start around 9 o'clock and play till midnight.
And that's pretty regular for most harp balls. So you put on as the food you'll sit down around 8, and the band will start around 9.
Right.
Of course, a lot of food still going on during the 9 to 9:30 time, or 9 to 10.
That's right.
Some people are still eating.
They sure are. They sure are.
What about that experience so that when you think about auctions, of course, there's so many auction items that go through an event like that. You'll raise a heck of a lot of money through the auction.
Yes. Last year we raised over $60,000 with the auction. And, of course, our goal is to beat that this year. So we hope to do at least that well, or maybe a little more.
Right. Todd Harms was with us a couple of weeks ago. I think it may have been the same week you were actually with us. Thanks for coming back again to keep viewers up to date as what's happening with the harp ball. But Todd was with us talking about, I think he said the goal was 70,000. And I know it's incredible to see the excitement. And he's got so many boards. This is his third year as the auction chairman.
Right.
And I think folks that have been on that committee with him for the longest time are back on there again to help make the third time a charm.
Yeah, I think so too. We also have a live auction during dinner, and we normally have 5 to 8 items, something like that, during dinner. So you get to bid live or silent, however people prefer. But the auction's great. A lot of people view the auction as part of the entertainment, because they enjoy that. Right.
And it's so important that folks really arrive at 6 o'clock so they can begin to scan the room. Last year at the Radisson, you had a gigantic room with tons of auction items, maybe 160, 70 items there. To be able to go through that entire room to check all those things out, you never know what you'll find. There could be something you've been looking for years, just hadn't seen it anywhere.
Right. And we have lots of experiences. One year we had a scuba diving experience for 10 kids at the aquarium, and that's something that you can't just go by. So we're hoping to put together some experiences like that. We have dinner for 4 at the Ocean Club, which you have to be a member of the Ocean Club to go there. So that's a nice auction item that you can purchase. We've had people like Brown Bradley who donated voice lessons. This year, of course, you know Brown's had a heart attack, so we may not have that this year, but we had that last year. You can't get voice lessons with Brown Bradley. So that it's a wonderful opportunity sometimes to pick up an auction item that you just can't go by otherwise. So I encourage everybody to come early. We try to mail auction catalogs out to our guests beforehand so they can do a little pre-shopping, figure out what their budget is, and circle those items and come in ready to bid on them.
How invaluable, Tammy, to get that stuff out ahead of time, to let folks know, to give viewers or attendees a chance to be able to review those auction items. The other great thing is that opportunity to stay at the Marriott for incredibly reduced rates. I think they have a $79 garden view rate for rates that would normally be $150, and then a ocean view rate of, I believe, just $99 for something that's almost $200 a night in this incredibly new plush hotel.
Right. And this is March, and March is a season where I'm sure that's the beginning of their season when their rates are are normally typically much more than that. So it's a great opportunity for the local folks to get out and stay in a nice resort hotel that they may not otherwise get an opportunity to do.
Why is fighting heart disease and stroke an important thing in our viewing area, Tammy?
Well, heart disease is the #1 killer all throughout the United States. South Carolina ranks #3 in the nation, and the PD area ranks #1 in South Carolina. So we are, right along the stroke belt. A lot of folks refer to the stroke belt, and the Myrtle Beach area sort of misses it, but the Ainer-Conway area is right in the middle of that stroke belt. So a lot of folks die from heart disease and stroke. Normally about 40% of all deaths are from heart disease and stroke. And when you think about that, it's the #1 killer of all races, men and women. A lot of people think that heart disease is a men's killer, but it's the #1 killer in women also. So, and children. #1 killer in birth defects or from heart-related.
Is that right?
Yes. And it's just the disease that we all need to be out there fighting. The more money we raise, the more research we'll do, the more things that are developed, the longer people will live and the healthier lifestyle they'll have.
Now, of course, today is February 3rd. At the end of this week, I believe there's a day where a lot of folks are wearing red pins, red dresses.
Right.
Is it Friday, February 6th?
That's right.
Am I correct?
That is.
And you've got one there on your lapel. I'm sorry, we can't really zoom in on that, but we see it there. What's the significance of those red dresses, Tammy?
Well, the red dresses are similar to the pink ribbons that the American Cancer Society has, and a lot of folks are very familiar with those. Year after year, people wear those pink ribbons. Well, what we are doing with the red dresses is to create the awareness of heart disease, and particular heart disease in women. If you went out and took a survey of most people on the street and asked them what's the #1 cause of women, a lot of folks would tell you breast cancer. And 1 in 26 women die from breast cancer, and 1 in 3 women die from heart disease.
Is that right?
Yes.
1 in 26 women die of breast cancer. 1 in 3 women die of heart disease.
Right.
It's amazing.
That's right. And so we want people to wear these red dress pins to create the awareness, the education level out among women so that they understand that heart disease is the #1 killer, and they need to really take care of their hearts.
Now, if you only have 3 days to get one of those pins, if they wanted to get one to wear one this Friday, who would they want to call?
Our office, which is 626-3939.
Okay, 843-626-3939. And those would be $5 or?
Well, there is no set amount of donation, but certainly a donation would be nice to help us raise a little money.
Great. Okay, so y'all are actually selling them. Now, I'm sorry, I had that $5 figure in my mind, but it's really for any amount of donation that a viewer can give. The important thing is to get those pins and actually wear them that day.
That's right.
And wear them all the time.
That's
You're wearing
right.
it today a couple of days in advance.
Right. I try to wear them all the time because people ask you. They see that red dress and say, "What's that all about?" And you get an opportunity to educate them.
We got about 10 minutes, Tammy, and there's so much that when you think about an event, someone who's never been to a gala and they're coming for the first time, the exciting thing is to get someone in there in that room, let them understand that folks are getting together to work to fight heart disease and stroke. They use this as an opportunity, not only those exciting things, the incredible meal, but we talk about the great opportunity to stay in the Marriott, the chairman of the board and the executives you talked about, the incredible opportunity to make that donation to the American Heart Association, of course the auction items, but that ability to help fund some of the research. What all does the American Heart Association do?
Well, we fund research which enables researchers to work on projects. One of the projects that we developed recently is the AED. The AED is the automatic external defibrillator. Most folks have heard about those. They've been around for several years now. A lot of public facilities, all airplanes have them. Golf courses are really working hard to get the AEDs. And what that is when somebody has a heart attack, if you can get an AED on them to use to shock them really back, especially if you've already lost them, then their chances of survival is about 50%. Where if there's not an AED available, their chances of survival is 5%.
Wow.
So it just dramatically goes down. So we want as many public places to have AEDs as possible, because if we can keep the person going and until they reach the hospital, then their survival rates are going to be much higher. But we also do other kinds of research. All medications that are used for heart disease, the heart-lung machine, pacemakers, all those things were funded by money raised from things like heart balls and heart walks. We don't get any money from any government sources or any kind of tax money. It's all coming from private sources when we do things like these heart walks, heart balls, of course the horse ride. That's how we fund all the things that we do. We also have educational programs in the schools. February is a great month for that. Most of the kids are in a curriculum in health, and they're learning about their hearts. Teachers tie February in with Heart Month because it is National American Heart Month, and lots of incredible things are learned, through that. And we know that obesity is the #1 problem with kids now. They don't get out and play, sports like they did when we were kids. They go home and sit in front of the TV with a bag of potato chips and, spend all their time with video games and on the computer instead of playing baseball in the front yard. So they're not getting the exercise that they need. And hopefully we're teaching them in the classroom that they really need to eat right. Put down the potato chips and get out and run and exercise.
Now, your daughter, Tammy, she doesn't sit at home and play video games.
Oh, no.
Wasn't she just in a in a pageant recently at school?
She's going to be in the Miss Myrtle Beach High School pageant, which is February 28th.
Okay, so coming up in a couple of weeks. Yes. That's right. That's the same. Oh my Lord, poor Tammy. That's the same. Oh no,
yes.
Same day of the Wilmington Gala.
Yes.
Ronnie and Brooke are going to kill you.
I know.
How do you do it? It's that amazing commitment to the American Heart Association, Tammy.
It certainly is.
And it's somebody was with us recently, a guest, and we thought we were thinking about Tammy Eaves. She eats, sleeps, breathes the American Heart Association. Your volunteer time is volunteering your time to the American Heart Association. It's incredible.
Certainly. Thank you.
It really is incredible. We think about all that. Of course, CPR, and how CPR came about, I guess, was based off of some of the research that the Heart Association done.
That's correct. And even the Red Cross, of course, they use CPR, but the research came about because of research money from the American Heart Association, and our researchers working on it, but the American Red Cross, as well as us, actually train and teach CPR.
Let's segue back to the Heart Ball, Tammy. There's so many folks that year after year help to sponsor the event. I know there's still openings for sponsors. A lot of the broadcast spots are just beginning this week, and the TV stations have said, we want to get as many sponsors on those spots as possible. We'll run some now and then run more next week with new sponsors on, if new folks can come on board. Do you still have openings for sponsors?
Certainly we do. Of course, our presenting sponsor this year is the Myrtle Beach Herald, and that's exclusive, just one of those, but we have all the other slots. We have openings for additional sponsors. Our platinum sponsor is the Grand Strand Regional Medical Center. Our entertainment sponsor is Better Blue, and they are responsible for us getting chairman of the board, so we're very appreciative of Better Blue. And our invitation sponsor is Coastal Federal Bank. And then we have just lots and lots of other sponsors. All the local cardiologists and the hospitals are all sponsoring. A lot of the local banks are sponsoring it. We have a wonderful corporate table sponsor for those folks who would like to get 10 people to join together. For $2,000, you can get a table of 10, and that's really a good price.
Absolutely.
It's a great price, great incentive. You can treat other folks that you work with or clients that have done great things for you this year, and you feel like you want to give them something back. Great way to recognize them by bringing them out to the Heart Ball. They'll thank you, and we'll thank you, and it'll be a pleasurable experience for both. So any businesses that have heard about the Heart Ball and want to get a little recognition, want to do a little more than just buying a ticket, should come in as a corporate table sponsor for $2,000.
And it's important to break down that 6 hours, Tammy. Break down from 6 to midnight. You think $2,000, that may sound like a heck of a lot of money for 10 people.
Right.
But you break that down, and I'm not good in math, but break down the 6 hours into $2,000, and then you break it down per person. It's really not for an hourly experience. The amount of dollars you're paying per hour to be there for that event. If you break those hours down, the 2 hours of the availability to be there for the auction, both the silent and the live auction, the filet mignon and the lobster tail and the crab cake early on, And, it's not that you're going hungry from 6 to 8. There's a ton of amazing appetizers from 6 to 8. The Asian station. You've got another whole bevy of appetizers there that the Marriott's thrown in this year, which is an incredible treat, much like the Radisson last year. And, of course, then you've got chairman of the board.
Right.
I mean, these guys play at the House of Blues. I mean, they play at large, main, incredible institutions around the area. But the great focus is people are making a donation to the American Art Association. Unlike other venues where they go out and have to pay money to get somewhere, these people are coming to make a donation to the American Art Association. It's so important to remember that.
And it is tax deductible.
And it's tax deductible. That's exactly right.
They can feel good while they're dancing and exercising, eating some heart-healthy selections. We have lots of heart-healthy selections on the menu as well that night.
What made you originally get involved with the American Heart Association, Tammy?
I had some friends that were involved as volunteers, and they just told me about the position and said they thought I would be good at it. I had been in sales and marketing at Coastal Federal Bank, and been there for about 6 years and served on several boards, and just decided to take a look at it, sounded interested, and I've been there ever since. I'll celebrate my 15th year this year.
Is that right? And I think I just saw in visiting the Heart Association the other day, your husband's office is next door, and he just received an award or some recognition there as one of the Century 21, the top offices in the area.
Yes, he did.
What was that? Do you remember?
The Centurion Award.
Right.
That's presented annually. In fact, he's going to be going to a conference leaving on February 29th and coming back on March 5th.
Is that
so right between these two events, he's going to Las Vegas and he's going to see Celine Dion while I'm staying up working long hours on the hardball.
I can't imagine. That's right. He's coming back at the right time. I think Louis LaBruce from our board is actually coming back on March 5th from Barbados or wherever the thing was that he won at the hardball last year. One of the just share with the viewers real quick about what that opportunity was last year and some of the other great opportunities this year.
Last year, the Radisson sort of threw in an opportunity for everybody who purchased a ticket to be in a drawing for a trip to Aruba. So you'll be staying in the Radisson in Aruba, and I'm sure that's going to be a great experience. Louis LaBruce, who has been involved with the Heart Association for at least 10 years. I think he's attended every Heartball. Was very excited to win that, and I'm glad to see he's going to be able to take that trip. So that should be very exciting.
Hopefully we can get the Marriott to throw in a nice trip this year. I know they're excited about doing that. We haven't got the full commitment, but I know that we'll see some exciting results there.
Right. A couple of other really good auction items that we're working on, and I believe will come through, is timeshare units in Vail, Colorado. And we've had a January and a summer condo, and this is ownership. Last year, someone got the winter week for $1,500, and they own that timeshare unit forever. They get a title, deed, everything to the property. So, and a lot of times we've had people at the auction say, well, I didn't realize that. I thought I was just going to get one trip there. So we have some really, really neat experiences, and those folks that are coming out need to take the time to look at the auction item list when they get it in the mail and really question us, or we'll have people that will have information about the items that night. And that's one thing I wanted to do, is have a little information center available in the auction area. So if you don't understand something, need to know if there's a deadline, there's somebody to answer your questions.
You brought up such an important point, Tammy. We have 3 minutes. Such important point there is that these folks aren't dummies. They are putting that auction item in because it's a high-profile event that gets a heck of a lot of folks, 900 community citizens, leaders, others who want to be there are the same kind of folks that would buy these timeshares on a regular basis. These are the folks they want to reach, and if any viewer knows somebody who could donate an item, they need to know this is a high-profile event that will have at least 900 eyeballs viewing almost every auction item there, whether they see it 3 weeks in advance when you all send those out, or if they're there that night. That's such a vital point to make. In addition, if there anything that do you have a list of some needs of things that could viewers donate time that night? Or do you need volunteers that night?
Yes, we definitely need volunteers that night. And what we'd like to do is have them volunteer at least a week in advance, and we'll have a training session so when they arrive on Saturday, they'll actually know what they're supposed to do. There's lots of things that they can do. Register people in the beginning of the evening from 6 to 8, help with auction closeout, at the end of the evening from about 10 to midnight. Run around, pull auction items, just walk through the auction room and monitor things. If a bid sheet is full, just flip the bid sheet over and make sure there's pins readily available when people have an opportunity to bid on something. Make sure that kind of stuff's there. So there'll be a little bit of a training process about a week out from the event. We could use help every day from now to the Heart Ball in our office. Some of that help could be doing some clerical things. If we had people who don't want to do that, they like to get out, we'll have a list of auction items that just need to be picked up and delivered to our office. And one thing we really need is a truck, something like a 2-men truck or U-Haul, something like that, to help us haul all these auction items from our office to the event on March 6th. So if we have any viewers that have access to something like that and some manpower to help us do that, we have all kinds of needs for things that you might not normally think of. But if anybody wants to help, please call us. We need all the help we can get.
She's very clear on that. Please call us. The number's real simple, 843-626-3939, and the message is very apparent. The efforts to fight heart disease and stroke can happen as simple as wearing a red dress pin, being there that night, coming in to volunteer a couple hours at the Heart Association's office there on 501. Whatever you're doing, reach out and know that someone you know has been affected by heart disease and stroke. Tammy Eaves and all the volunteers and staff at the Heart Association do that every day. Tammy, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. The event's the 10th annual American Heart Ball. The place is the Myrtle Beach Marriott Resort at Grand Dunes. Saturday, March 6th, 6 p.m. Call the American Heart Association office at 843-626-3939 to learn more. We need your help.